To give a quick introduction, she is the CEO and director of K11, India's leading academic institution for vocational education in the fitness industry. Having found a deep passion for sports and physical fitness, Ms. Capadia decided to pursue a career in this field and eventually co-founded K11 in 2003. I believe shortly we would be celebrating the 20 years foundation day, where it marks the journey of K11 School of Fitness Sciences, which has now become a synonym with the a fitness training institution with over 6 branches across the country, and also through its partnership with NSDC will be responsible for generating more than 55,000 skilled workforce in the fitness industry by the year 2028. Welcome to you, ma'am. It is an honor to have you with us today. Ma'am, you're on mute.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Firstly, I will want to get started. The topic itself is something which is intriguing. Firstly, we see a lot of institutions resisting technology itself. CRM is like the last resort, right? People look for more of an end-to-end platform. I understand that you have been you have successfully implemented several tools in your journey so far. And could you share what are the kind of tools you currently have implemented, and why do you think it's important to adopt technology by institutes?
First is having a data in one place is very, very important for any company, or mainly for educational institute, because when a student comes to you, if you have their journey and well tracked, then they are very pleased to know that you take care of them. So firstly, the whole intention was data management. I have functioned on Excel for in the initial year of my life, work life. And I was not pleased because I would never get the right data for what I wanted. So how, the conversion ratios, or how many inquiries have been generated, what is the source. So you have to run a lot of pivot tables and everything. So, if that's ready-made available to you, that solves a lot of your, that saves a lot of your time, your decision becomes quicker. So the kind of, the tools that I've implemented, first it's CRM. We had something else before Extra Edge. Then, so vocational education doesn't have a good kind of ERP, so to speak. So I adapted one gym management software because we were involved in gym management as well. Gym management software for maintaining the student database and their batch number and everything. And one more thing that we have implemented is a fresh desk to handle support queries from students, because students have a lot of queries, and they we found out that that's getting missed in the tons of emails that one can receive. So I implemented fresh desk. Then we had in between OneDirect. There is one platform that can be used for Facebook integration, Google My Business integration, but I didn't quite use that properly because the COVID hit in between, and then we had just implemented, so I stopped using that. So, and the technologies, yes, we before the COVID could come in, we were ready with our whole entire setup for our vocational distant meetings. So, but that we had done it completely for our internal use, not to have the staff travel from one location to another for one-on-one meeting or personal, or faculty meeting or sales meeting or whatever. So that's what we had implemented.
Fantastic. I see that you have been an exception in the aspect of technology adoption, because I don't see a lot of institutions doing this. They give a try. When they hit roadblocks, they say, okay, this is not my cup of tea, and go back. So firstly, congratulations. It's good to see institutions to adopt a vast array of, or rather try, experiment, and be able to stick to something that works for you. I would want to understand what made you, or what were the challenges you faced, right, which made you feel that a tool is required, especially in the admissions front. Was there any specific thing that you saw that, which you feel that only a tool could solve for you?
So mainly, rather than, I would say, because I had a not competent tool, but I had a tool to maintain admissions. What I was missing is before admission. So, okay. So I always like, so suppose if my counselor is calling us lead, I like to know, their source from when they have inquired, and then they write a message in the message box. So if you don't have a CRM to integrate those online inquiries from the landing page or Instagram, these messages are missed. And then that person who's sent you all the details, it's so disappointed that अरे ये तो मैंने लिखा था, आप क्यों फिर से पूछ रहे हो? So I train we train the counselors to talk to people in a particular way if their source of inquiry is different or type of inquiry is different. So it becomes very easy so I was missing that. I wasn't getting, and the system that I was using was not advancing to next level where so I implemented, I think, extra in 2019 or 19 August 19, and that time the other system that I was using wasn't giving me a feasibility to integrate with Facebook, integrate with Instagram, Just Dial, and it was becoming a lot more issue because I receive about 3,000 to 4,000 inquiries per month. So if the integration is not available and it's going to be maintained on different platforms, then there is a lot of data missed out. Then you don't know whether all the data have been called or not, or which one is your cold lead, which one is your hot lead. So that is something that I was really missing. From admission front, I was still okay, but not now. So I know I need to evolve on that front as well.
Okay, fantastic. I think you've mentioned three very key pointers. One is in Excel, it becomes very difficult to know what was put across by the student prior, even if the team members keep changing and the lead moves or the inquiry moves to its journey. Second is the user experience itself for the student when he's applying. What are the things that he goes through, right? Whether it's a smooth process or there's a lot of roadblocks for him to take up the admission. And you also mentioned integration becomes a key role, and having a tool that can help you integrate all of your channels seamlessly makes it easier for you to track. Fantastic. Ma'am, so you've been in this industry for the last 20 years, right? I today still see a lot of institutions on Excel, and there's a lot of reluctance to, move out or spend specifically on a good platform. Don't you think that there's a huge compromise that they're willing to make? But any thoughts on why it is that they find it?
I have been in that position. I never had a reluctance of implementing a new system because I'm always excited about getting something new. But I try it out before implementing across the board, because so I would take certain data, implement it before, see whether it's useful to me or no. And or I would take a demo login from that particular thing. And because I have that I have that hands-on experience, it becomes easy for me to convince my staff. See, once you become, so right now, when I had one school in Mumbai, it was easy for implement one system. But now if I have to implement and move from one system to another, it takes a lot of efforts on my part or somebody who's doing the implementation in the company. That is what the institutes are scared about, is what I feel. Their implementation arm is not stronger in their company, according to me. I'm not making this as a generalized statement. I've seen in one or two, because my one or two friends of mine were also in the vocational education, and they found it difficult. So, for a couple of times I've helped them in implementation. But the key is getting it implemented and setting it into a motion. Once that is done, then it's a easy thing to manage it further or implement new features, because everybody sees the kind of benefits that they are getting. So in Excel, kya hota hai? You get the data in front of you, so they are very easy to that. Here you have to filter the data, but they don't understand that while filtering, you can fish out your productive data first and then go to second productive, third productive. That doesn't happen in Excel much. It can happen with a lot of filters and everything. But there are one. So suppose if I've got one school, there are 5 counselors. All 5 are going to be working on one sheet. So their filters are going to overlap, and then the comments are going to overlap. So all that, but that has to be explained to them, why we are doing it, in what phase we are doing it, how much time it's going to take, and the effort that from the implementation person. That's more important. So I've been involved in gym management a lot more before we got into education. There also, our gyms were on Excel, where we adapted to a ERP, and that implementation took me a lot of time. It took me a lot more time than what it took me to implement in schools, because by then everybody had adapted to the system culture, I would say.
Right.
So the implementation part, if your team has a stronger arm or their company has a stronger arm, it solves a lot of problem for them.
I'm assuming because you've been on XREX platform for 4 years, we have been able to solve that very successfully for you. It's an interesting point that you highlighted, that many institutions do not have knowledge or idea about implementing softwares. The other side of it that you mentioned is explaining to the counselors how to use the platform, how it will benefit them. In terms of adoption, we see a lot of roadblocks internally, right? Many a times founders, chairmen, sellers, the team doesn't want to use it. They feel it's like being monitored, or it's a threat to them, or it apprehends their work at the end of the day. Did you face challenges like this with the team? How were you able to overcome such roadblocks?
So I didn't really feel that challenge before, because when I started implementing the softwares before, I just told them, see, it's not to keep a watch on you. It's to maintain our quality of calling. It's to improvise on our the way we make a call to a member of a gym, or to a lead who's inquired in the school for the course. So because if you tell them that, and I said, if you monitor yourselves, I don't have to monitor you. So we have mainly, one of the reasons that I forgot to mention that we wanted to have CRM is to have integration with our IVR system, because every call gets recorded and logged under the student's name. So if I want to hear it, so earlier also we had that system, but both were not integrated, the earlier system and the IVR system. So now it is integrated. So it's easier for me to go to that student, that lead's profile, find out the call records, play the call, and see whether the counselor is doing the job or not. So what we had done is, we had got the counselors into habit of self-auditing them. So if you don't, then I will. So, don't get to that level. So they will always come back. And yes, we do the audits in the company, but we do not do it to catch a mistake of a counselor. So the intention is to improve upon the quality. So we, as much as we come across the bad calls, we come across the super good calls also. So we play the good calls before, when we have a meeting, and then we say, okay, now these are the points that we have taken for good call. Just let us know what is not implemented in the next call. So, the person is not feeling that he's been targeted, or the person who's done the call, and then they are more welcoming towards the systems. Yes, they do get monitored. Their call numbers are logged in. I mean, but that gets done in Excel also. I just don't have the data to prove it to them, so I'll have to filter it, and then they can write anything. So they will not do a call and then they will put their name. So when I used to manage their calls from Excel, I used to reduce 20% from, or 15% of number of calls that I logged in. I mean, I count for them. So if somebody has done 80 calls, I know he's done 60 calls. It's just a human behavior, because there is no system. But you have to put a system, and you have to tell them the benefits first. Everybody is going to be scared about getting the new system implemented, because they are not able to they are not used to somebody monitoring them.
Absolutely. I think you've beautifully touched upon that. I've heard a lot about the culture and the trust you hold in the people in the institute as well. It speaks miles about what you just said about how do you actually approach this as a challenge. What would be your advice to somebody who is trying to select a CRM or any software? What would be the process you would ask them to follow?
So I would ask them to include all your top team members in selecting these systems, because they need because we got 6 schools, we got 6 school heads, okay? And then we have certain sales, the response and sales head, and then there is product training head, and there is they all need to be, so if they have certain kind of heads like that in their company, they need to involve them from day one. if they're involved from day one, they take the responsibility of implementing it beautifully, because they understand and they see how what are the advantages rather than disadvantages. If you don't involve them, then it will be more of, they would be taking time to accept themselves. So I involve them from day one in any system that I have I wanted to use, because half of my work gets done there.
Fantastic. I think this is a key aspect which most institutions miss out, because many a times it's the management that takes a decision and then the end users feel that this is being forced upon us. I believe that is where you're coming from. Beautifully put, ma'am. For some of you who have just joined in, I saw a lot of people have come in the last 10 minutes. Welcome. Today we are in talk with Ms. Kalyani Capadia, CEO and Director of K11 School of Fitness Sciences. We are quickly moving towards a Q&A shortly before we cover the next session. Please post your questions in the Q&A and not in the chat window, and we will be able to take up those questions towards the end. Ma'am, if as a business owner, as a co-founder, what are the few metrics, top 3 metrics, if I have to ask you, that you look at from the admissions team day in and day out, which you feel should be automated, or which will help you grow and achieve your admission targets year on year?
No, you will have to repeat that and break it down.
What are the 3 metrics that you track regularly? What are the 3 numbers that you see, or what are the reports that you access more frequently, which gives you a bird's eye view of the admission process? What are the loopholes, or where do you need to improve to achieve your targets?
So I mainly look at, so there is this one report that I have asked a couple of reports from Extra Edge. One is analytics by school location. So I have, you guys have that report. So in that I get to know the inquiry numbers, because everything starts from there, and the sources of the inquiry. And then there are, so we have created 2 buckets in Extra Edge. Everybody knows about buckets, right? If they are using Extra Edge, those statuses on top which we have. So one is new and one is pending. So everybody keeps a watch on new. I keep a watch on pending new, because pending new is something that we have connected with them, but they have not picked up our call. So they are neither in new, neither in follow. Because once we speak to them, then we put them in, if they book the counseling, then we put them in counseling book. If they say call us later and I'm busy right now, we put them in follow-up. But the pending new is something that is neither here nor there. So we created this pending new bucket, which I monitor with my school head. So everything that I do is with the school heads and the response department head that I do this. So and I ask them, so ultimately I have to prove it to them, that pending new helps. So yesterday only I was showing it to my staff that from January till yesterday, we have moved about 300 leads from pending new to respective other. So that is something that is first key metric. Second is, so we have 6 locations, and then any other lead which inquires from goes to other cities. So, as counselors mentality, they would first target their own locations and other cities get missed out. So that I had asked a report for or repeat about, giving me how many other cities leads have been shifted to our respective school locations. So that report helps me to tell them that, see how productive these leads are, don't ignore them. So between 1st to 16th of March, I was just checking this report yesterday with my CIRs. CIRs are course information representatives. So we don't even call them telecallers. They are not. They give information, so we call them course information representatives. So I was telling them, see, this is what you have done. From we had received some 180 other cities inquiries. Out of that, 90 has been shifted to our school locations. So these metrics, this is the second matrix. And then, the status changes, I keep a tight watch on. So अगर walk-in book हुआ है, तो उसको अगर फिर से follow-up में जाता है तो क्यों गया? So all that checking part, I keep a tab on with the response rate. So I don't check it, they check it, but I ask these reports from them for them to give me that. So if you maintain this, the enrollment ratios I have seen going up, and of course the missed activity report, which constantly needs to be checked as per the convertibility or the statuses.
Fantastic. That's quite a few of the reports that you check. I really love the factor that you mentioned about pending new. We have not really done this proactively from our end also at many institutions because they prefer their own language. But I like this thought process. I think we could advise this to more
You
institutions.
should, because it really gives them a perspective of, so क्या होगा, नहीं तो follow up में सब दिख जाएंगे leads जो जिनसे बात भी नहीं हुए हैं, वो follow up में जा ही नहीं सकते, तो फिर उधर ज्यादा नंबर बढ़ेगा और फिर उनको ना टारगेट करने नहीं होगा जिनके साथ बात ही नहीं हुई है लेकिन वो न्यू है.
Right. Fantastic. That's a great input, ma'am. If I have to touch a little upon automation, right? Again, a CRM, the prime objective is to help automate and support the CIR team, as you call them, to progress and increase those numbers. What are the things that somebody could automate, and what is the ideal approach to automation, even in terms of email, SMS, or
so
other
your
aspects?
Segmentation, you got a segmentation section, right, where we can automate a lot of stuff as basis on status. So what I just asked Ankit few days back is, I said I don't want a next follow-up date. So every activity has a next call date. So I said I don't want a next follow-up date for warm and close leads.
Okay.
So not close though doesn't have it. Cold and warm leads. So convertibility mein you have that warm and close. So what we are going to do now, we are going to target them by convertibility, and we are going to set the automation there where we will be sending out informative messages, not about joining the course, but how fitness industry is progressing, how much the trainer earns, and what kind of benefits they have joining this industry. So the marketing would be different for them. So that's one automation, and there are tons. I mean, I can't. Every status, every date, every convertibility has an automation that you can do for sending out your SMSs and emails to your database.
Okay. And if I talk about, what is that one advice that you would want to give other co-founders and chairmen who are trying to implement a CRM?
Do it. It's perfect. I mean, it's actually the best tool that you can have, because they will get their own reports. They don't have to ask. So I don't like, unless I'm not getting the report for, there are several reports that I've again asked Arpit, and he's going to give it to me by next week or next to next that week. And those reports, if I'm not getting from CRM, then I have to ask and head of my MIS department, which I don't like. So for founders or for co-founders or for their chairmen, the reports are ready-made. You can check any report that you want. And the moment you have, real picture about the reports, nobody will tell you anything, because you have that information ready available in your softwares. So you can, I always, before talking to any staff, now see, this is me. I love to get involved because I'm completely a salesperson. So I can't pull myself back. So whenever I feel something is missing if I'm not doing it. So with my other work, so if I'm not finished my other work, I keep this at the end of the day, but I still do it. So that is me, but everybody is not like that. So, they will have, if they get involved in checking a little and checking the reports, the staff gets more responsible because they know the top boss knows everything.
Right. I think that's fantastic. I like the fact when you said do it. It's just like Nike, just do it. It's important. And in one line, you summarize the whole aspect. Quickly to ask you, you've seen the cycle. There's not many people who use a CRM for a long duration, and that has its own impact as compared to trying something for 1 year and then moving to a different platform every year, right? Because it's a lot of effort that goes into implementing as well. So having used a single system for over 4 years, almost 4 years now, what is the biggest impact that you've seen that it has had on your complete process, be it process or system or team or the business itself?
So the impact is, again, I would say, I love data. So, my data is at one place and I can pull out any report that I want anytime. So, and then this is so suppose the admissions are not happening. Why they are not happening? Check the statuses, the responses, all that becomes very easy. imagine we have approximately some 1 lakh leads in Extra Edge. Imagine me or my team has to check those leads in Excel. हम लोग रात भर भी बैठेंगे तभी भी उधर वो हमको चेक नहीं करना होगा, because that productivity does not come through. I remember when I used to handle, so there was a time that K11 had more of management gyms and our own gyms, and only 2 schools, one in Mumbai and Pune. In 2007 or 8 we decided we don't want gyms and we would be focusing only on education. Till that time I used to manage 14 gyms and 2 schools, full-fledged schools. And we implemented another system that I was talking about in 2009, according to me. Before that, everything was in Excel. I never used to go home before 10 o'clock because I was heading sales at that time. And unless, I have my reports ready or I want what information I want, and for next day, I wouldn't go home. So that really is, the impact is you can finish your work and go home fast. Because I want my salespeople, I want my school aides not to do what I did 4 years back. Or say, not even 4 years. What am I talking about? Before 2009, because I used to spend most of the time at the office working on those Excels.
Right. I think that's also one of the biggest disadvantages of staying on Excel for too long, because as time progresses, a CRM helps you to analyze how you have grown year on year. Yes. And if the longer you stay on Excel, this data becomes deterrent because you'll not be able to track and grow faster with the pace that the market and industry is growing.
So initially the pain would be a lot more, the efforts would be a lot more. Maybe if somebody is got with when we implemented Extra Edge, we had about 8 locations. And so me and Monali and I think Deepak was there that time. I have visited every single branch of mine and stayed there, got it implemented. And I used to be available 24/7 with me, Monali, and of course Deepak from your end. And we got that thing done. And first 2 months, it was a lot of efforts on my end. The easier thing, if you're migrating from Excel to any CRM like Extra Edge, then the migration is easy because they have never used a system before. But in my case, I had got them from Excel to the other system, and it was a tough task for me to get them from this system to this system, because they would always be Excel वालों को वो फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, because उनको वो पता ही नहीं होगा कि बीच वाले सिस्टम में क्या था. तो मेरे बारे में क्या हो कि अरे मैडम ये नहीं है, अरे मैडम ये नहीं. तो आई यूज्ड टू टेल देम, अरे अच्छा इधर जाओ, ये देखो, यही इन्फॉर्मेशन इस तरीके से दिखाई है, ये नहीं. So that was a task for me. But when you implement Excel से यहाँ, it will be little easier because the what I face would not be there. They will not know the in-between system which I use. So, it will be very easy for them to explain to them.
I believe this also helps the branch heads, because wherever there's a multi-branch setup, what I have seen is marketing and spend happens at the branch level as well and at the organization level, to actually track the marketing ROI in both segments, and then linking why specific students are not taking up the enrollment, right? What is the drop off? Yes. And this could vary for each branch, I believe. Does it really vary for region wise as well? And is that something that is there something that you tell branch heads to specifically keep a track on a regular basis as you coordinate with each of the branches and do marketing for them?
We work together because we don't have franchises right now. It's our own company, own center. So we all look at it as one K11. So it doesn't matter to us whether it's going to which. And now it's online, So that the one which was a factor that I have seen before COVID, it's not there anymore, because whether you are from XYZ city, you're going to attend the theory online, and the practicals you would come to school. So the whole thing is they just want admissions, and they want admissions for K11. So the branch wise, earlier there used to be a lot of fights between the school heads saying, "Arey mera admission hai, mera admission hai, mera admission." But it's all now, it's under K11 umbrella.
But how did you solve that? Because it's a very common problem I hear, that there's a fight for the incentive.
I didn't solve it. COVID solved it for me, because everybody went. Okay. So what happened in COVID is the all lectures started happening online. तो अगर मेरा अभी एनरोलमेंट हो रहा है तो कौन से ब्रांच के लिए हो रहा है मैं कंसिडर करूँ. सो आई सेड जस्ट थिंक इट्स फॉर K11 and whoever is the counselor will give credit for that. So then it became very easy. So and they adapted it to it very fast. वैसे तो अभी भी थोड़ा इधर उधर होता है कि ये मेरा ब्रांच. Okay. That is at very very minuscule level. It's not that great.
Okay. All right. So we have a lot of questions pouring in from various, parts of the country. Before I move to that, I believe there were a few questions that my team wanted to put across to you as a rapid fire. I'll quickly shoot those questions to you. How would you rate XtraEdge as a CRM tool designed for vocational institutions admissions process?
I would say 9. It's out of 10, I guess.
It's out of 10, right? Second question, how would you rate our implementation and support?
Implementation, as I said, you can improve upon a little more. See, I have implemented it 4 years back. So I don't know if you have improved upon that. That time also Deepak was very good. But because I was little better with implementation, his work was a little less. But yet he was there. I right now don't know. So I'm hoping, because I've seen your office, you have grown from small team to a bigger team. So I'm sure you have done a good job. Support is always, I do keep having bickering with your support. I mean, mainly with Arpit and team, but they always solve my problems. Devashri, who's my marketing manager, is always in touch with your team and whatever is. Mainly, I found the problem in marketing aspect. When he found it, he contacted, it got solved and resolved immediately. So sometimes it takes time, but it is always been communicated. See what a person wants. So I have a lot of requests. I think I had come to your office and I had spoken to somebody. Somebody had asked me the questions, and I had said that I have a lot of requests of features, and that gets entertained. So I'm happy.
I'm glad. I'm sure Deepak and Arpit would be listening, and we will make sure we work or thrive towards making that better and better every day. The last question is, how would you rate a CRM tool from the ROI perspective? Any CRM tool for an institution, how would you rate for it to help you bring more ROI or optimum or ROI, or help you save on your marketing budget?
So it doesn't really help on saving the marketing budget, because I will have to spend that much. But what it does is get the data at one place, and the convertibility and the productivity of a lead is identified at very early stage. So that's what I would say the CRM does, because implementation of CRM is different and spending on marketing is different. Yes, the retargeting of a lead or through CRM. So we do a lot of remarketing of leads, like, as I said, the segmentation section that you have, that we use a lot, or campaigns we create a lot to, touch base with pending new or people who are with cold or warm. That saves my marketing cost. Otherwise, that I will have to do it on the Facebook otherwise. So, that also helps.
Okay, got it. We'll quickly pick up a few questions. I see there's a lot of questions that have come in. Some will be addressed by our team at a later point in time, because we may not be able to take up all the questions. But I would most certainly want to take a few questions. So what I find interesting in this is, how is a vocational CRM different from a traditional CRM? So there's again a lot of CRMs out there, and I believe you have also done a lot of evaluation. You've used different tools before you implemented this. What has made you to stick to us, or did you find something very different in XtraEdge CRM as compared to the others out there?
So I'll tell you what when I was looking. So actually, I wasn't looking out for a CRM. Arjun met Abhishek at Arjun. That time he was a marketing manager. Head of department. He met Abhishek in one of NSTC meetings. I think, I'm not too sure. So when he came and talked to me, and he said it's easy and simple. I love easy and simple, because for staff it has to be easy, simple, so that they can work on it and give me the results. So when he said that, I called for a meeting. The tool that I was using before, as I said, I had implemented gym management tool for an educational system which was not competent at all. So the other factors that I'm only talking from vocational point of view. The one software that I had seen it before, I don't remember the name, but it had a lot of things that are meant for university and universities and formal education schools, which was not meant for me, like canteen and this and that, or bus service, or so the terms were different, the products were as per the terms of the school, which was not good for me. So coming to vocational, there are very few courses, or many others have many courses, but creating a product and sticking to that becomes easier.
Okay, got it. There is one question, if you're okay with it, I will want to answer. Mr. Sunil Gera has asked a couple of questions on the same lines of the CRM. How customizable is the product from vertical to vertical standpoint, as an extension to the previous question you asked, Sunilji, which is B2C and B2B businesses, right? So to answer that, we have ability to customize the platform at a very large extent. We have a lot of institutions where there's a B2B process, B2C process, as well as a B2C process as well. So if you could set up a demo on our website, and the team will be happy to take it up and answer that back to you. Ma'am, couple of questions that have come in, and a couple more that I wanted to add. What would be your single line of advice to admission officers out there? As you said, CIRs, you've been running the setup for over 20 years, and I believe you've been doing it in a beautiful way. So what would you advise to them that
to get an admission, people give false promises. So in K11, we don't give any kind of false promises. We absolutely show them what you're going to get it here, and there is no we don't so we don't create an urgency for them to take an admission, because if somebody doesn't take an admission in spur of that moment, then he might come and back and say, give me refund, I don't want to. So we give them time to think about whether they are making a correct decision, whether they are meant for this field. We have a lot of questions that we ask. So we used to do a lot of learning in our, we still do it in our company. So we read a book called Drive. And Jim Collins is the writer, and in that there is one para where is mentioned, the more you are open and clear with your consumer, the consumer can make the informed decision, and once he makes the informed decision, then the sale becomes easier. So we give full clarity of what we do, and if somebody is committed a wrong promise, we have stood by that and got the things corrected also for the lead or the student. So that is what I would suggest everybody, because when the lead is calling us, he is calling us for education, and he shouldn't lose faith in education institutes for giving him wrong information, because education is the purest form of learning. Learning is the purest form of everything.
Right. I think I have nothing to comment on that. You have summarized the way you function in a right spot on. There's one more question that has come is, what is a good source for lead generation? Is there anything that you would advise?
I would advise, so right now it's all digital marketing, social media marketing, performance marketing, blogs, and making sure your website ranks higher in SEO. These are the three things. And if you are I am from very offbeat field, so I have to actually go out and take a lot of seminars with kind of colleges to make them understand that this field is available for you, mainly with the athletes and so all the sports people I target, because so I've been a kabaddi player, and I was a national level kabaddi player where I didn't see my future anywhere else, and I didn't want to work in the bank, because normally the players and athletes get picked up in bank or railways. I didn't want to go there. So I happened to meet Leena Mogre, who used to run this institute called LM Fitness Academy, where I happened to meet Kaizad, and then we all started this. But so I go out and target this sector more, because they need to know that there is this kind of field that is available for them, and they can earn more from here. So, but for others, there is a digital, the shiksha.com is available. There are a lot of online platforms where you can advertise.
Okay. And talking about, I think there was another question on training, right? When there is a CRM which is being adopted, I believe a lot of effort goes into training your folks on how to use it.
Yes.
Is there any structure that you would follow, or any advice in terms of number of trainings that somebody should invest into to make sure that it is used properly and adopted to?
Yeah, so in our company there is a learning phase for new joinee who's CIR or counselor. I basically stick to that right now. So they have about 20 days or 25-30 days training. Out of that, 7 to 10 days are dedicated to CRM, because that's where they will be working most of the time, and they will be, so they need to know everything. So I follow the inquiry journey, and from and every stage, and they need to understand. So you have statuses and then you have responses to each statuses. So they need to understand what is each response given for. See, once your staff understands why. So we have a motto in K11, why before how. Kaizadit said that long time back, before our batch could start. When I was a student, I've been hearing this. So why before how makes everything possible.
Fantastic. I think that's a good takeaway for us as well. The why before how. 7 to 8 days is a long time. I have personally not seen anybody else do that in the industry, but that tells how important it is for an institute to actually make sure not just buy a CRM, but make sure that it is used to its potential after purchasing the CRM as well. Couple of other questions that I had. I think we do have a little bit of time left. If it's okay with you, I will proceed with a couple more questions. Okay, fantastic. So, any specific tools that you have looked at in the last couple of years, new tools or technologies that you would advise? For us, we have seen WhatsApp to be a very prominent tool, right, for communication.
Yes, so that's what I said, that no, sorry, not here. I spoke to somebody at your office that WhatsApp is something that we've been wanting for longest time to get integrated with Extra, and that is there now. So because people are, they don't want to communicate over a phone call or an email nowadays, but they respond quickly on WhatsApp. So when WhatsApp integration happened with this, then we were happy, because then earlier we used to copy paste what message on WhatsApp it sent to them and then put it in the box, but now all that is not required. So so that is one thing that is really good.
Okay, we have one more question from the audience which is coming to the chat. May I know whether the CRM helps to manage manpower and students data for any college?
That you would be able to
answer. So I think manpower, if you're indicating to manpower in terms of attendance, payrolls and etc., then we don't. But managing the entire student's data throughout its communication journey, that a student comes, inquires from there to enrolled, and thereafter is managed by the CRM software. Last role, I think data analytics we have already covered, but when you think about long-term business or long-term impact on the broader sense of a vocational training institution with multiple branches, how important is it to have customized reports? Do you build custom dashboards for each of the segments, for each of your counselors? And does that make because you mentioned 5-6 reports that you personally track, right? When it comes to putting it across your marketing team who does a lot of activity, there's a counseling team that's headed by somebody, right? What advice do you generally give them? So what would you tell the admission heads or officers out here to also track in terms of productivity and performances?
I wouldn't tell them. I would ask them what they want to track, because why would I tell them? I need to understand what, because they are, they would understand their field a lot better, right? The accounting or the CFO of the company should know what to track, and then if he has to tell me, and then if I want something else on that, then I will tell him on top of it. But I wouldn't tell them what to do. I need to understand what people think, so I would ask them what they want to be tracked on. So I think Devashri, who works with us as a marketing social media manager or marketing manager, he's already asked for a marketing dashboard with Arpit, saying give me this, give me that, and so that they do all. So if you let them do what they want, and of course you have to check on them, but then they will have their own ideas flowing in, and we will have something.
Okay, fantastic. We have a lot of audiences from the vocational segment, right? Out of the, talking about something out of the tools and technology, what advice would you give to new institutes that are budding in the vocational space?
Again, the same thing, be as clear with your lead and student as possible. And what you commit, give that, because otherwise they will lose faith in education system. I have
Right.
seen that happening because been a student, right? So at a lot of places, the information that was given before I joined the course and after I joined the course was different. So, and that's when, I mean, that's when I was a little put off with the coaching classes, because
Okay.
अगर आपने ये बोला है तो ये दे क्यों नहीं रहे हो, फिर उसके लिए एक्स्ट्रा पैसा क्यों देना है. So that I have seen a lot. So my cost is all inclusive. I don't take a single penny after that from them.
Okay. Fantastic.
So that clears many things, and being open and being clear about what you're going to provide and what they have to do at the time of admission or before that clears a lot of bad blood between a student and the institute.
I think the education has seen a huge variation of things that have happened with the edtech coming, coaching institutions. There's been a lot of change in trends and the way business actually happens. It's important, as you said, to keep to the honesty and transparency, because I see universities have a lot of norms that they have to follow, so that doesn't leave a lot of scope. But then the vocational segment is until date it's not completely structured. There's not a lot of bodies that monitor it and so on and so forth. So a lot of malpractices can happen, which indeed impacts the student. I think that's a very important point and highlight you've made today, ma'am. So I think we have come to the end of the session. I will want to personally thank you for taking this time out, having the patience to listen and answer all the queries bombarded, that number of questions that have been bombarded to you. You've been amazing. It is fantastic to see you grow. Congratulations in advance for the 20-year foundation day. We are happy to have been part of the success with K11, and we look forward, get to hear a lot in the office. We talk a lot about you and the success that you've seen, and we look forward to having more such conversations, seeing more growth along with you, and do come back sometime soon, and we'll have some other topics to discuss further.
Would love to. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Good day.
Thank you.